Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
And I'm Scott.
And we're keeping you in the loop with the guitar community. All right, so Chris, what's new with you?
Nothing. Right? We haven't got anything. Oh, you got something? Oh dear.
No.
Oh. I was about to say.
Maybe.
Okay, then what did you get? Since I got nothing.
I haven't ordered it yet.
Okay.
Is someone's birthday coming up?
No.
Someone's birthday
No.
was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my birthday's coming up. September 23rd. This episode will drop before that, so if you guys are interested, I can send you my address. Just gonna pin it to the top of the group. No, I'm just playing.
You're gonna get so much glitter boxes.
Yes.
Gummy
Or
dicks.
gummy dicks.
Yeah.
I will.
I wouldn't even be mad. There'd just be pictures of me eating gummy dicks all over the internet. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, are you going to tell us what it is? Or wait?
I want to get my loaf.
Okay.
From Big Ear.
Yes.
Yeah, you should totally get one. Do
Is
they
that
have?
you telling me yes? Or...
I guess.
Do it now. Do it on.
Now you have to learn how to play guitar, so.
No, you can use a loaf. You can use a loaf on a bass, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what.
you have to learn to play bass.
Are you saying she doesn't know how to play bass at all?
Are you?
No.
You just take all the stuff, you turn it 90 degrees, and cello, it's a bass.
Jack Black movies. Back in the good old
Alright.
days.
So since that might be
Do they have-
coming,
Do they have any like limited edition colors going on right now?
I don't think so.
are
The
there
loaf
any
is
on
white,
reverb?
isn't it?
Yeah.
You should get you should see if Grant would do a blue one, like a sparkle blue, to match the bass.
Is that our official color at this point?
No, I
What,
think
sparkle?
no, it's still a debate. Is it gold or green? Okay, so if you think our logo has gold or green in it, post it in the group, and no one will know what you're talking about.
If it's
Joshua
floral
Frazier can confirm.
or
I don't want to
No.
bug Josh Frazier.
Well, I'm sure he'll listen and then he can confirm.
Don't wake up the troll.
All right, so Scott, what is new with you?
All right, well, hold on. Before Scott starts, I'm going to go away for about 10 minutes, so I'll catch the tail end of it.
oh yeah. Well, the good news is my agent has been able to, resolve our contract dispute, so I'm back on this week's episode. We had to hold out, but things working good.
Because we wanted to not raise his salary from 0 to 0. So
I mean, technically, that could be 1,000 times more than it is now.
I mean, I
This
didn't
is
even
true.
come up earlier in the order this time. I need to fire my agent. Shoot. All right. No, I was traveling for work and weddings and things. I haven't been home.
He
for
has a portable
3 weeks.
recorder. He just doesn't love you guys enough.
I was on an airplane while you guys were recording.
Ryan Burke recorded on an airplane. That's all
The
I'm
other guy
saying.
was on the airplane with him. So do you
Well-
want to come out with do a LaGuardia? I don't want to wish that on anyone. LaGuardia is so terrible of an airport.
Okay. Honestly, we've got to get 4 tickets on an airplane. That way we can be the first full podcast to do an episode on an airplane. 60
That'd be
second hop,
hilarious.
that was 50%.
What the Gear Slum just did one on like a boat.
Yeah, but that's not an
Planes are
airplane.
better.
Fair enough. I mean, when it's airborne, like if they hit a good wave or something, they might, that might be a flying machine.
Wait. If we can get on the Hercules that was created by Howard Hughes, that was a flying boat, we would be the ultimate champions.
But seriously, so yeah, I got some new gear. What have I bought? So I sold a while back my my Super Ego from EHX, and now I have a Super Ego Deluxe, which adds the multi-effects and some other options into it. I like it a lot. I just actually finished it this morning, the Quaviaro from Zeppelin Design Labs. That is 99% complete. They sent me a bum part, so I need to get that one part fixed, but it's the toggle switch between momentary mode and latching mode, so I just soldered in a wire and just went, I'm probably never going to use momentary mode anyway, so who cares? But that was a fun kit, really well, easy to put together. Instructions were really good. I'm still dialing in the tone knobs on it to where I'm really happy with it, but so far so good. Nice. I guess the biggest piece of news I've got is I also finally tracked down a Klon KTR.
Oh yeah, you only had to cross borders to make that one happen.
Yeah, and then I shipped it to avoid taxes. So
So if anyone from the IRS is listening, that's Scott Hamilton at 101 Tax Thief Way.
Yeah. Go ahead and chase down the Canadian side and try to track down sales taxes on it. But actually, no, it's not even the IRS who would be after me. It would be the Canada Revenue Agency.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
That's a horrible name.
CRA?
Yeah, the CRA.
Well, what's better is instead of a social security number, you have a social insurance number. So it's your SIN number.
Oh yeah, that's why Jesus doesn't love Canada.
Oof.
I'm just kidding. If we have any Canadian listeners, if we have any Canadian listeners, I love the
is
syrup.
a xenophobe at theeffectsloop.ca.
Hey, listen, it can't be something if I don't know what it is.
It's after a chest burster comes out, an alien, then they become a xenophobe.
I wash my hands all the time.
So he's not getting aliens.
No,
I'm not getting the aliens.
Listen, I'm not mad. I'm just confused.
All right. So I think that's my list for right now of all fun stuff. I played with the KTR yesterday, and that thing is just heaven.
I didn't like one. I played one. Granted, it was at a Guitar Center, and it wasn't like through my rig. But I guess I'm not a big Klon fan that much, anyways. And I really just didn't. It didn't wow me like I expected it to.
You got to remember, it's not really an overdrive pedal. It's more of a boost with a little bit of hair on it. And when you set it up that way, it just makes everything around it better. You know, use it that way.
I wouldn't want to pay $300 for a boost.
I didn't pay $300 for it.
Well, I did $300 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, maybe in Canadian it was $300. I don't know.
So do you have to like get your money changed over every time you go up there?
No, I bought it with PayPal.
Oh,
because I bought it online. When I travel for work, I'm using my work credit card, so I don't really have to worry about anything. But
if your work had to pick 16 random digits to put on the front of a card, followed by a date that those numbers might expire, and 3 random digits on the back, what would that be?
Hang on.
It's like, hang on, I have that exact answer.
You're like, surprising enough, that information is in my back pocket right now.
Get a pen. It is 3, 8, 2, 5, 9, 6, 8, 3, 4, 2, 9. If you can decode that message, let me know and I'll send you some swag. First one.
We're sending out the Effects Loop decoder rings for our Patreon.
Yeah, I think we also just triggered some kind of Secret Service thing too, so hopefully nothing bad happens.
I'll give you a hint. Look at your cell phone number pad and you'll figure out what I just spelled out. Anyway, So yeah, that was a lot of fun stuff. I also made another fun thing, but I will wait till next week when I have it in hand, hopefully, to talk more about that.
Yeah, and I didn't really get anything new, but I did finally do some work to my Telecaster. Steven, one of our listeners, posted on one of my so my wife did that whole if you love your husband post a picture thing, and she got a picture of me holding my Telecaster being goofy, and he was like, do you still have that? And I was like, actually I do. I was like, yeah, I need to fix it. So the neck, because it is a bolt-on neck, the screw holes stripped out, so the neck like would pop off. Like that's what happened the last time I had it. I put it in the case, I went to church, I opened up the case, and the neck was just popped. And I was like, and I closed the case and I took it home and I didn't do anything else with it. So I got my drill bits, and I got a 5/16 dowel. I drilled a 5/16, and I watched a video on how to do it, and I kind of like tapered the ends off so it would go in the hole easy. And I put I told Scott this, and he was kind of intrigued or curious about. I actually used super glue because there was a video that had one of the guys use super glue, and it seemed to work pretty well. I mean, it was a very light amount. It was just enough to kind of to get it to get in and stay in place, and not want to spin around at all. So whenever I was drilling in, and then I drilled the best I could. I drilled a small guide hole for whenever I was going to put the neck on to make sure it got started. And then I screwed it on, and I took it and kind of waved it around by the neck, not like swinging it like a baseball bat, but kind of moved it to see if I could get any movement out of it. And it stayed on perfectly well. I actually played that Sunday. So
that's really cool. I don't think I have... I don't know if I have the like bravery to do that level of a repair.
So the only reason why I did it was because I was kind of to the point where if I couldn't do that and fix it, I was just going to order a new neck and keep that one, and like maybe later down the road I'd have it. But honestly, the reason I always tell people when I fall in love with a guitar, you know, there's always the aesthetic, but the main part that I fall in love with is the neck, because you can, I mean, the body is what it is, and my kid just made a lot of noise. The body is what it is. Not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of feel going on with the body besides how it sits with your body and how you play. Now, well, we'll come back to
that point.
The body is what it is. I mean, you know what styles you like and where you wear them. But the neck is the main thing that, because you're so much movement on it, the neck is the main thing I fall in love with. Like the sound of a guitar, you know, a lot of it comes from the way the guitar's made, but a lot of it also comes from the pickups. You can always change the pickups. So that's one thing I fell in love with that guitar was the neck, and I was like, oh, I don't want to just kind of give it up. So
have you ever played a Telecaster with like a raw body or like an oil finish?
Yeah.
Do you ever notice like how much different of a feel those guitars are because they're not painted and you don't have that whole vibration response of paint?
I'd say they feel different, but I mean, that's not usually to the point where I'd like hate a guitar.
Oh, I find I like it. Like, there's that Strat that I have that I stripped the finish off of and then relicked.
Yeah.
Seen that one? That gives you so much like feel in your gut or like up against your body of what the guitar is doing. Like I really like that. So you know, it's one of those different feeling kind of things of where the body matters. But
yeah, I mean,
like Telecaster to Telecaster body. I mean, the wood sort of matters, but for feel and sound and some of those kind of things. But like an American Standard, or you have American Deluxe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, an American Deluxe Tele body to another American Deluxe Tele body. There's not going to be a huge amount of variance. Yeah,
but one neck to the next is going to have a big variance, in my opinion. So,
yeah, when a builder gets really good, there's less variance. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, you know, you pick up one when you go to a Guitar Center or whatever guitar store you go. go pick up a couple guitars. You'll like one more than the others, and they're supposed to be identical.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like, people talk about, they're like, you have two guitars made on the same line and all that, and they just play totally different. There's just always there's so many different things going into that guitar that every little difference adds up to be two totally different feeling guitars.
Yeah, and you can't always isolate it to just one variable either, which, like, that's what's annoying. It's like there's always somebody online that's like, nope, it has to have this type of saddles because that's the only thing that matters. And you're like, chill out. There's a lot of factors. Well,
I mean, and that's like that Telecaster I've modded like crazy. I added a Bigsby to it. I jacked up the bridge. There's a hole right next to the bridge plate right now. I mean, and it's a heavy Telecaster. I think all of you guys messed with it. Well, I don't think you did, Scott. You didn't come back to the hotel, did you? Not this past year, but the year before.
No, that's back when you were kind of an internet stranger, and I was going to go to your hotel room and get murdered.
Well, Chris and Marissa came and they got root beer floats. So,
I missed out.
Yeah.
Oh, was that
screwed up?
Was that because I went home early?
Yeah, you did go home early. That's what it was. Yeah. But they like, I think Mark Swartz was one that mentioned it. Like, my Telecaster is a heavy Telecaster. So, but there's always been something about it that I always have bonded with. Like, that's the reason why I put so much work into it. Not the fact that, I paid a good deal of money for it, but it's like, there's just something about that guitar. So,
I mean, you play Gibsons as well. So a heavy guitar is not something that like phases you as much as,
No.
If someone played a Strat their whole life and are used to lightweight guitars.
Yeah, well, and both of my Gibsons are actually pretty lightweight. I'd say my Telecaster might weigh more than both of my Gibsons. But I also have a Gibson I don't have a Les Paul. Les Paul's where the weight's really at. I've got an SG and a Firebird, and the Firebird's actually pretty light. So, but that was my what's new. I got a diffuser too. We talked about that in the pre-app, but I'm gonna go on the essential oils and some lavender to calm down and stop being angry. We won't have our we won't have our new segment that we're coming out with called "Look at This Jackass."
I'm still voting for it.
I still think we should do it. I'm gonna have to like start paying attention more.
Maybe that will be like a Patreon content kind of thing where we just let you just rant for half an hour, and like you can do it whenever. Like you just record it midweek because you're just mad at like somebody, like a customer that came through and just like pissed you off. You go to the back room, record your thoughts, and then we just release it.
I'm in a secret group on Facebook, and it's
not a secret anymore.
Well, I didn't tell you what it was.
Oh.
But one of the things I do is I'll go on there and I'll record a video. I'll go in the freezer at work and I'll scream something really loud. I'm like, not safe for work. We're gonna have like NSFW content. It's like Dia's just yelling about people. We should. Well, I've got the portable recorder. I'll just leave it in my truck and put on a lapel mic while I'm driving down the road. I'm like, y'all can't see it, but look at this jackass over here trying to change lanes in the middle of a red light.
Yeah, this is happening. This is so happening.
All right, so I guess we'll have like that could be like our like Saturday content. We'll fight Sean Pierce Johnson for the Saturdays.
Well, he's encroaching on every day these weeks.
I know.
Like today's Labor Day. I got one on Labor Day. I'm not watching it because I'm supposed to be taking time off spend with my family. But
well, everyone dropped, and that leads us into one of our gear news.
Oh yeah.
Oh
nice
yeah.
Segue.
Yeah. I like. You like how it's like what's the decathlons or whatever where you have to pass the baton.
A relay?
Yeah, that too. Is that part of the decathlon?
It's not part of the decathlon.
It's part of the decathlon. It's at the end, right?
No. A decathlon is where one person does 10 different events at 10 different times.
Well, maybe he gives himself the baton. It could be.
That's part of the high jump. They jump and hand off the baton.
That's it. He has to grab the baton from on one of the ends. So, oh my gosh! All right, so Walrus Audio announced the Defcon 4, which is I think the second Ryan Adams signature pedal that's come out. One with JHS, he did the VCR or whatever.
Yeah, the VCR, and then there's he had the Benson amp, which is that on the market yet? I know they're teasing it at NAMM. I haven't really seen much since NAMM about that.
No, I don't know.
No
I'd say Benson probably doesn't move as fast, being a smaller boutique place, and I don't know.
They just came out with one recently. The
little tiny thing.
Well,
No.
it has the one
It's the
watt,
Vinny.
and then it has something. It's called the Vincent, I think.
Yeah, because it has the Vinny was the small one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the preamp came out this year.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Keep talking.
But-
I'm looking this up.
But so Walrus Audio announced the Defcon 4, which is a boost EQ. It's really weird because if you look at this pedal, it looks like, honestly, if I believe it's a fuzz, just because it has that kind of crazy look to it.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I would assume it's a fuzz, but it's an EQ boost, which seems to be the thing that everyone's putting out. It wasn't Walrus Audio. It was
Walrus's last pedal was a boost that had some EQ shaping on it with the emissary.
who was that? Was that Walrus?
That was Walrus's last release that came out.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. They're coming like a boost and then coming out with a EQ/boost, and I don't know. And then the Condor that's a EQ and boost and all that, but it's a lot more, right? But I mean, that's like the basis of it.
On its face, it looks like an EQ, but yeah, once you get into like the Chase Bliss side of it,
The like,
the dip switches and the
oh my
ramping
gosh,
and all
the
that kind of stuff.
craziness. Yeah, because Joel has to be extra, in a good way. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Love Joel to death. I think everything. I mean, everything he puts out sounds amazing. But
Give us free pedals.
listen, I straight up, like, ever since the Warp vinyl I've drooled over, and I've never owned a Chase Bliss pedal. So
I highly recommend the Tonal Recall. Highly recommend it.
I always want to mess with this stuff, but like, it seems to be like I mean, the Gear World moves, everyone comes out with like the same style stuff at the same time. Like, that's like
Yeah, because you had the Equator, I think it was, from Wampler this year. Was also an EQ boost. Watch, Boss will just like reissue their EQ pedal.
the GE7.
Yeah.
They're gonna do a GE7 Waza.
Why not?
But like, that it seems to be the thing, but it's kind of weird that a company comes out with like close to the same thing back to back and it not be a dirt pedal. Now, dirt pedals are kind of a different world, but because I mean, everyone uses dirt, but not a whole lot of people use EQ.
Right.
Compared to
I don't think
like
a lot
dirt.
of people know they use EQ. I think that's part of it. Like, we were talking about, like, you didn't get along with the Klon circuit. At its face, the Klon is an amazing boost that has an EQ character to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's like Tube Screamers. A lot of people use it as a mid boost. And they're just changing their EQ is pretty much what they're doing. But
there's no like variability in it. It's just like, that's a Tube Screamer, that's a Klon, that's a X and X, whatever, brand or whatever. A lot of them have an EQ character. It's just not one that you're shaping. Whereas, a proper EQ pedal is one that you're playing around with it. You got a lot of variability in it.
I mean, I don't know. I've always been a fan of, if it's an EQ, I want it to be graphic.
Do you have you tried a parametric ever, where you can actually mess with like the filter width? I mean, I rarely use a graphic anymore, but most of the time when I'm in like EQ mode, I'm doing like recording, editing, that kind of stuff. So,
well, I think
different thing.
I think that like using parametric and using a graphic are kind of like two different things in the sense of like kind of like a digital delay and analog delay. Like, it's going for the same thing, but it has two different sounds you're going for.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like you're using it for two
different
okay, how about this? How about this? Like a compressor and then like the limiter, like the Keeley Compressor Plus, which is, one style of compressor, and then you've got the compressor Pro, which is more of a limiter.
That just means it has a higher compression ratio. That's really the main difference between a compressor and a limiter. They're actually the same thing. One is just more has a different compression ratio than the other.
Well, you need to have a talk with Robert Keeley, because I watched a video and he might have said that.
I can pull out my college textbooks right now and tell you that that's what it is.
Oh, I went
a certain ratio. That's
this is
where
the
it goes
second
one way or
time
another.
today that Scott's brought up he went to college.
Feels bad.
I'm trying to guilt him into giving me.
I'm not buying you a dweller for your birthday.
I tried.
Maybe one day UNICEF will get into the guitar pedal business.
Where did you post that at? I saw that the other day.
It's our group.
Oh yeah, I should have. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think like I've watched videos of it. Sean Pierce Johnson actually did a really cool demo. He started messing with some of the stuff under the on the back. I think there's like dip switches. I kind of watched it on the go. It just really all the demos started flooding the market today because the pre-order started today, which is Monday.
Yeah, the embargo ended today too.
Did it?
Yeah. So like that's why they all come out at the same time. Is everyone has them, and they're part of the contract is you're not allowed to talk about them.
Oh well, yeah. I thought you were talking about like the embargo, like
some put a tariff on them or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, that's why I was I was just like, okay,
Okay.
sure. Politics and things.
According to Audio Engineering for Sound Reinforcement from JBL, a limiter is essentially a
Oh my
compressor
God.
that operates with a compression ratio of 8-to-1 or higher. So, there you go.
Cool beans.
Thank you, John Ergel and Chris Foreman, for writing that textbook.
And this was Scott's new segment called "I Went to College and You Didn't." Diaz.
I went to college in a very specific trade that tends to overlap with this podcast a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I guess we can kind of. Oh well, no one else has really said anything about it. I think it looks cool. I just
I
think
think it looks awesome. I don't know if it fits in with my pedal board though, from an aesthetic standpoint.
I feel like everything that he's come out with, or that Ryan Adams has come out with, is like straight out of an episode of Stranger Things.
Yep.
There's an 80s nostalgia all over him, for sure.
You know what? And he doesn't want to be compared to Bryan Adams, or like everyone like makes that joke. But
You mean they're not the same person?
Listen, the summer of '69 did not really happen in 1969.
And that's the second reference we've had to Canadians.
I actually watched a video of Bryan Adams and Taylor Swift singing together.
Bryan Adams or
Ryan Adams did the whole cover album.
No, Bryan. I'm talking about the good one.
okay, the one we actually care about.
Yeah.
Oof.
Listen, you know what? So Kyle Smith is a guy who's big online. Not only because, but the main reason is because of Kyle Smithing holding up the pedal, taking a picture. But he's a huge Ryan Adams and T Swift fan. And I've just never gotten into Ryan Adams though. Like I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, and I can't. And then I tried, and I tried, and I couldn't. My wife's writing something down. She's gonna hand it to me. It's gonna be like on the news desk.
This just in.
This just
Stop
in.
being a jackass. So you know what this reminds me of is remember like in the Toys R Us era where like you'd go. They had,
Rest
like,
in peace.
Yeah, they had like those $10 Casio games.
Oh my gosh, I think so. Yeah.
You had like one button or two button on them, and like we thought they were awesome until you actually try to play them, and they make no sense and they kind of suck. This kind of looks like that. It's got that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Other than it also looks like Missile Command, which is kind of cool.
They remind me of the pedal company that was at the Stringjoy booth though. The
Lightning effects.
Are they the ones that have the ghost,
yeah.
like Tron looking stuff with the like sliders versus
Yeah.
actual knobs.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. What are they called? They're not made in America. They're made in Europe.
That's a good question.
Hold on. I know where to find it because I posted it.
The Lightning Wave was one of them, right?
Yeah, Lightning Wave.
I think so.
Yeah, they're from New Zealand.
Yeah, that's it.
So the Doom, the Ghost, and the Astro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those were cool because it wasn't actually, the slider wasn't actually like a pot. It was you could like draw the waveform and do stuff like that with it,
Yeah.
right?
That was another thing. Yeah, you could draw the waveform and all that, like that. But so it kind of reminds me of that. I mean, if you look at them, they just share the same like 80s like Missile Command and game like Atari look.
What's really cool is if you look at Astro or Ghost, they have the same kind of thing that the Defcon is doing, where the ground is this grid going off to a horizon line. I mean, like there are very similar aesthetics going on. The other part with this is like it just doesn't look like it fits in with all the rest of the Walrus's stuff.
Yeah, it really looks like if they were to have like commissioned a custom shop and then they're like, oh well, we'll just go into mass production. I feel like because Pax Am is like his company, right?
It's Ryan Adams' stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like he's probably like he's using companies, but he's like forcing his aesthetic on it, which I understand.
The Benson had the same thing. It had a bunch of weird kind of aesthetic things on them.
Which, I mean, I guess it works because the VCR did pretty well for JHS. I think it kind of fizzled out. I think it was more of like it had a real big initial like, oh my gosh, Ryan Adams put out a pedal, and it was his first pedal. So I don't think this one's going to have much of an impact, and I don't see it being those are not my dogs.
Nope.
I don't.
Are you gonna shut the door?
No, we still can't.
All right, continue.
I feel like it just it's kind of like making an artist do something that they really don't want to do. But I'm sure Walrus, wanted to do this and everything, but I think in my opinion, it looks more like Walrus is like, oh, we can sell pedals, Ryan Adams, yada yada. You know what I mean? But
it's off-brand.
It's just not their thing. It's not their niche. Without a T.
Yep. I mean, I think there's another thing in there about, like, we were talking earlier, like, Ryan Adams has seemed to shift his gear around a lot lately. And so it's like, oh, cool, it's his signature piece of gear. It's not like... there's a signature piece of gear where it's they had something specific with a mod or some type of change to it, and it was like the core of their sound in their like major influential time. And now I want to buy the Gilmore Strat, or I want to buy those kind of things where it's like it's a key component of their sound. I've never felt that connection the same way with like Ryan Adams' stuff, which like the VCR could have been just a chorus that like nails a CE1 tone, because that's what he was using, I think. Yeah. Correct me in the group if I'm wrong. And then like I would have been like, yeah, now this is his signature pedal that gives me all the sound from that one album that I love.
So that's like one of them is like Andy Timmons has the from JHS, and that was he was using the Angry Charlie, and he had Josh like modded a little bit whenever they did the signature. Another one is we'll just stay with JHS. So the kilt with Stu G was that originally?
That was it's a take on an Ex Pandora, which is what Stu G was using. Okay, but it was modified to make it a little easier. So like the dip switches are now all in version 1. The dip switches that were internal on the Ex Pandora are now on the outside, so you can access them and stuff like that.
Well, and another one is like the Ruby Red from JHS, which is Butch Walker's signature pedal from them, is the Superbolt with a boost. So that's kind of like, because he's like, I love the Superbolt, I use the Superbolt, and so they kind of did that.
Yeah, I just think those when it's that kind of style, it sticks better, and part of that is just on the artist of sticking with it. That I mean, when I look at this, I'm like, how is this Ryan Adams other than name and aesthetic?
It's gimmick.
Okay, so it's not like I'm you know, I liked Relient K a lot when I was growing up. I fell off that wagon a little bit, but like I still really like that band. Would I go after the 1981?
Yeah, the DRV.
Yeah, the DRV. I don't.
No, those are my
look at that
dogs.
I don't look at that as a Matthew Hoops signature pedal, but it is a similar kind of thing where it's like when you hear him talk about it, it's like, yeah, this is what I used on this album, and you know, this is a play on that, and you know, those kind of things. So,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Good grief. Everybody's dogs.
you know, my dogs have been perfectly quiet and well-behaved. I just want to point that out.
Your wife's been really quiet too, and like. That's not kind of dickish. I apologize. I was not trying to be a jerk. Like
Poor Marissa.
Yeah, I'm going to stay quiet about my dating life right now.
Is it because your dating life is a little quiet right now?
No, it's quite good. It's quite good. I just want to respect her privacy.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have her on next week. And
we're gonna live stream it with video.
Okay. True story. So, I bought a guitar this weekend. I haven't received it yet. And I was talking to her on the phone last night, and she's like, "Oh, so this makes like what, number 4?" And I'm like, "It makes number 12." Like, I be really careful with it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She can't. It's kind of like whenever you go, like if you were to go to a girl's house and she's got like a closet full of shoes, and you're like, "Oh wow, she makes horrible purchasing decisions." And then they come over to your house and you've got a room full of guitar gear, and you're like, no, this stuff will appreciate in value.
Oh, I mean, like, I have tons of shoes too. I have nowhere to judge there.
I've got 2 pairs. I've got work shoes and tennis shoes.
You don't have worship boots?
No.
How do you take a picture of your pedal board?
Okay, because if you look at my body shape, I look like Groot. And so if you put boots on me, I look even more like Groot. So I'm trying to go as little Groot as possible.
Oh my
But I could paint my kids yellow and they could be my minions.
I mean,
Same hairstyle and everything.
Are you confusing the bad
oh yeah, he is confusing Gru with Groot.
Oh, yeah.
Groot's the tree in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, I guess I am like Groot then, so.
You just say I am
He's
Diaz
both.
the whole.
I am. Welcome to the FX Loop. I am
I am
Groot.
Diaz.
Listen, I just saw the Avengers, the last one that came out.
Finally.
Well, it just went to the $2 movies because I've got 3 kids, and it's expensive to take a whole family to the movies. So we go to the $2 movies, and then we paid to see Hope, and then we snuck into the Avengers. I paid for the popcorn though, so it's all good. That was $40.
What?
No, I was being sarcastic.
Okay.
Kind of like that thing you were doing earlier with me.
But it was only 30.
No, well, I forgot how much it was.
Spend $40 at a movie theater on food very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I was mad because so AMC has the like year-round popcorn bin things,
Oh.
and they were out. I mean, granted it was towards the end of the year, but I was like, what the heck? So I had to buy a regular bag of popcorn, and it's like almost the same price.
Yeah, like it's like $9 for the large popcorns.
Yeah, and then like $4 for a drink,
Yep.
and you're like, what the heck?
And it's all ice at the same time.
But the best thing is the Dollar Tree is right down the road, and my wife has a big bag.
Oh, that's why it's great to go. Like that's why summer movies kind of suck, but like winter movies are awesome because you just load up your coat.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of loading up your coat, how about the Gibson 2019 line?
Is that how we're gonna get our Gibsons?
Oh, that
Is loading up our coats?
yeah, saving money on movie theater tickets is how we're gonna buy Gibsons.
After seeing the prices, listening to Scott talk about the prices, yeah, we're gonna have to load up our coats, guys.
Okay, before everyone goes in the internet hate machine. There are a number of lower price models, which is actually where I think I'm more interested.
The DC.
Yeah, so let's start there.
Chris, you want to talk about that one? I'm sure you know most of the details.
It's actually pretty cool. It does not, yeah, I can say it. It does not feel like a $800 guitar like you would expect, like, you know, your standard like player series Fenders to like be kind of wonky.
Listen, it's okay. Listen, we still live in the South. You can call it what it is. Mexican guitars. It's okay.
But overall, I feel like this is going to be like a pretty good Gibson to get if you're into like the modding game, because they give you this huge ass pick guard which has enough room if you felt like routing out the body a little bit that you could actually do some fun stuff with. Like I sent you guys a mock-up of like how making this into like a special would be. Like there's enough room to put a second P90, squeeze the knobs together, and throw in a switch.
I want a humbucker. I don't like P90s, but they like, one of the cool things is we talked about it before was so I don't like Gibsons that don't have the trapezoid inlays, just because they look cheaper. I mean,
trapezoid inlays would look weird on a Junior.
I know, but
they
that's
look
why
a little too ornate on these.
Okay, but that's what I was gonna make my point was. It looks, for even though it's an $800 guitar, that this still looks good. It doesn't look cheap.
Oh yeah,
it
it's
works
USA
together well
made too.
There's the main color that I've been seeing posted around. It's kind of like a brownish, like a chocolate.
Worn brown, worn cherry. It says worn ebony, but it looks pretty like solid color to me, like just a straight up paint. Okay. And then the like blue, like transparent blue.
Like the brown one has like a chocolate feel. It's not like a, I don't know. Maybe it's just the pictures I've looked at, but they look really good. And like
it's basically their mahogany for that. Yeah.
And to have an $800 American modding platform is fantastic.
From Gibson too, which is like rare. Unless you're just totally gonna Frankenstein it.
Is this routed only for the P90? Or
yeah, I would assume so.
Routing it.
I would highly be surprised if it actually had a swimming pool route in it, which is why I said, you know, if you're a
swimming pool routes, do they?
No, because everything's like pickup ring mounted in most of the guitars, so you can't exactly do that. Which is why this would be good, you know, if you wanted to like get your local luthier to do it, or if you yourself wanted to hack away at it, you could cover it back up.
These are pickguard mounted. That means you have way more routing ability in there, and you can actually go back to stock. Like I'm looking at like it. This is kind of like a Titan option too, because everything's on the pickguard.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting.
Did, like a big route on that thing, you could have so many variables or variants on this guitar then.
It'd be fun if they did aftermarket pickguards for it too, so that way you could actually do that.
And honestly, a lot of the double cuts don't look so, I don't know, something about the horns just kind of throw me off when I see it sometimes on a Gibson, but this has a very sleek look to it.
I think it's mostly the angle
of I think people are going to really disagree with me on it, but I do get kind of an Epiphone cornet vibe from this one. I know
it's the one that's kind of similar to like the Wilshire, right?
Yeah, it's a different shape, but I'm just picking up like that kind of era of guitars where it was simpler, a little more straightforward.
Yeah, I'd say that. Like it's got that. It's kind of like whenever you look at like a Fender. Was it the Mustang that was the student guitar?
Yeah.
Kind of like when you look at that, like it looks like it's got a student vibe. I mean,
that's what the Junior was originally made for. It wasn't made to end up being a $1,700 guitar that you still have to be in like your later years of playing to be able to get.
Dang it, Billy Joe Armstrong.
$5,000 one to get a historical version.
You know what's did they
or an Elliott?
Hold on. Did they do anything with melody makers in 2019?
I think they tried the M2 thing. That was supposed to be the new melody maker. That's M2. So I don't see anything in the range of like a properly named M2 or melody.
So maybe this is.
I guess M2 would be like MM melody maker M2.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I've always wanted a melody maker. I've always like had
Joan Jett.
Yeah, that like Joan Jett punk rock thing. I think
they're
if I like
good guitars.
If I wanted to do like a punk rock guitar, like beat the snot out of Ride On, like you know what I mean, like that kind of like teenage angst. I'd always wanted a melody maker. See, my Firebird's my Old Man Blues. My SG is my like dad AC/DC, and my Telecaster is my like praise and worship thing.
So I think another one model I kind of want to talk about a little bit, which I think we overlook a lot, is the studios. The studios seem to have become a little more premium this year. They're bringing the block inlays in, they're binding the neck now, and you have the push pulls on.
You must be looking at a different studio than you are.
There's the Studio Tribute, and then there's the Studio. So the Studio Tribute is the satin model.
Oh, and they're actually bringing a Sunburst into this, which has been my biggest issue with the studios, is that they were like uber basic, but like still good guitars. But
they got a Les Paul Studio High Performance on sale right now for $13.99.
Yeah. That's
regular price is $18.49. They've got a Silver Burst, Radiant Red, Alpine White, Vintage Sunburst, and Wine Red. That Silver Burst actually looks legit.
I love Silver Burst on a Les Paul.
Well, no, it's not. Okay, so it's not the black in like the silver into black. It says it's called Silver Burst, but it's just a silver guitar. But with the HP, because of like the 0 fret and
is it a 15?
Huh?
Is it a 2015 then?
2006. It's 2016.
I thought they got rid of the 0 fret even on the high performance models. I thought they got rid of that.
They still kept the 0 fret on the high performance.
Okay.
Even in 2019. No, this one still has a Robo Tuners. This is 2016. They can't get rid of the dang things.
Wasn't that 15?
No, I'm reading.
They started it in 15.
Bro, listen, I'm literally Gibson 2016 Les Paul Studio HP electric guitar Silver Burst on musiciansfriend.com, and it's got the pictures. Okay,
I'll give you that.
I'm just saying, like, I'm literally reading the ad right now. Like,
so going back to the 19 range,
didn't learn that one in your fancy college, did you? Reading the ad.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you are correct. I did not learn about 2016 Gibsons in college.
Thankfully.
I missed you last week, Scott.
2009. Graduating college in 2009. I did not learn about future
fancy
Gibsons.
book schooling and what have you.
Okay.
Now I'm going to get in trouble for making fun of people for having an education. Like, people are going to be like, can you believe this guy?
If anyone's curious about whether that was worth it or not, go back to our What's New section of this episode. You'll get to see what has happened there. Yeah, so next is they have the tribute lines are coming in at a really nice price point as well. So you have an SG standard tribute coming in at about $1,100, and then the studio tribute, which we were talking about earlier, coming in at $100 more. So how are you guys feeling about these satin finishes? Oh, and sorry, there's a Firebird there too at $1,200.
I hate Gibson satin finishes. I hate them with a passion.
Really?
Yeah, I can't get into them, man. They feel tacky, like sticky. In my opinion,
I've had the opposite experience. I find them smoother. to play than a fully glossed guitar.
I'm not talking about the neck. I'm talking about like the body, like in general.
Okay.
It feels like, I don't know, and the satin finishes. I've just had a bad run-in with satin finishes. I mean, I don't know. I think it started when a lot of the like Gibson, the Les Paul studios of like the late 90s, early 2000s that were the satin finish. Like, they just didn't feel great.
All right. Well, and there's a Flying V coming in at the $1,400 price point. You see that one? And
an Explorer.
And there was something else at that
I want
level.
a modern V just to piss people off.
Oh, is that the Star Trek insignia one?
Yeah, that thing looks legit. I think Clifton Worley liked it too. I feel like I think Clifton and I should both buy one and start like a dad rock band.
That would be the greatest thing ever.
You know, it's like the modern double cut or whatever they did last year. That was the controversial model from their custom shop,
which still looked amazing at Summer NAMM.
It looked good in person.
Yeah.
I see images of it and I'm like on it, but like I really liked it in person.
Yeah,
I think I was the same way with actually the modern V. I liked it more in person than I did like images of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel the same way or not.
Yeah, pretty much.
I could agree with that.
I think a lot of the stuff that with the 2019 lineup that really is stuff that you won't be able to see is the guitars we played at Summer NAMM, which I'm sure they picked the best of the best to put out there. Like, I get that, but it seems like not just the guitars you see, but it seems like the focus of the company is really getting to where it needs to be. And I think that's the most exciting thing. That's what I'm excited about the 2019 lineup to start coming into stores, because I want to play the stuff that's actually hitting the stores. And I want to see if they're just spitting BS or if they're legit trying to make sure that they have better attention to detail. They're trying to make guitars feel like people want them to feel, and they're not forcing this new stuff that doesn't need to be forced, but they're trying the new stuff that still needs to be tried. Because, you know, you can't sit there and just... The problem with everyone with Gibson is they don't want the innovation, but they want the innovation. They want their cake and they want to eat it too. They're like, we want you to be innovative. Then they come out with something that's innovative and different than a Les Paul or their main body styles, and people freak out. And they're like, no, that's horrible. Why would you do that? I mean, the modern V is the best example. It takes a classic design and moderns it up, and people lose their mind. Now, the only thing I will say that I kind of did that too was the freaking strap placement on the SG HP. Just whoever thought of that.
Oh, because it's on the horn and you hate it.
Yeah, was it on the upper horn?
It's on the upper horn.
That's where I want it.
That's
where I would want it.
It's not symmetrical for the body though. Like it doesn't I mean,
it just makes the neck dive, doesn't it?
No, it's to avoid neck dive, but honestly, if you just deal with the neck dive. How many people really are standing there without touching their guitar? I don't trust my strap locks enough to do that. I'm sorry.
I mean,
no.
you're clearly not really praising the Lord because your hands aren't up in the air while you're trying to play a song.
No, I do the TV carry. I don't do the field goal. I do the TV carry.
Oh, you do the pick up in the air?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
An okay symbol to the rest of the audience, the congregation, because you're still holding your pick.
Yeah, I do that. Dang it! Everyone's like thinks I'm over there meditating because I got two picks. So I'm gonna go crazy on this song. Wow, Diaz really is deep in prayer over there, and they just hear.
So I will echo Diaz's comment earlier that Gibson seems to be shifting their focus, because you're looking at this year just on the Musician's Friend website that we're on for the 2019 Gibson range. You have 28 items, all under $2,000. All U.S. made, and you know they're going down to $800 now at still a quality player. It's not like at the M2 where it was kind of a crap
Infamous.
bucket that you got to upgrade. So that's where everyone was like, oh, they don't know stuff for real players. Now they're pricing a ton of stuff and coming out with new models in that range of where things are affordable for people to play.
And
now,
here's the thing too. People got to understand what's considered affordable. Just because you can't afford it doesn't mean it's not affordable. It's just not affordable to you. That's another thing too. And people also don't consider affordable if you can't just go out and grab one on a whim. It's like, just because you have to save and budget towards a goal like that doesn't mean it's not affordable. I mean, look at back in the day whenever a TV in the like 80s and 70s was $1,000.
in 80s dollars.
In 80s dollars. That's not 2018 dollars. That's in 80s dollars. And you know, people talk about, well, guitars, you know, they've done really well of trying to stay with inflation. And the thing is all these like $4,000 Gibsons, those are Gibsons for dentists. They're not Gibsons for the everyday gigging musician. My brother's a gigging musician that gigs. That's how he makes his money. And he's also good enough at his job and with his money that he can afford nicer gear too. I mean, like, it's all about how you spend your money. So before people start bashing Gibson on, oh, well, that's not affordable and that's not for your everyday player. No, it's not. There's different levels of the line.
I just think there needs to be more marketing attention to this part of the range. Like, it's like we're covering it right now because it's our genuine interest in these more affordable models. When we got, you know, a tour around the Gibson booth, we didn't hone in on these. We honed in on them on our own, but it was like, here's our custom shop, here's here's the new finishes.
Well, here's the thing with Gibson though too, is also Gibson also has that thing where they come out with the super Paul Reed Smith did it with the SE line. It's where they've got these super nice guitars that not everyone can afford, and then you go to the store and towards eye level is the $900, $1,000, $1,300 guitars, and the $4,000 guitars are above it, and you're like, well, I can't afford that, but I can afford this.
Yeah, I mean, the car market is the same way. I mean,
not everyone can afford the power windows and locks. Sometimes you got to roll the window up.
Well, and that's why you've watched over the last 2 decades, for example, the Honda Civic has grown to a size that, and feature-wise, that's closer to what the Accord was way back when. It's this idea of you buy in, and as your income level grows, the car grows with you, and you get this brand allegiance kind of thing. It's the same reason why, like the cheapest BMW, the cheapest Audi, you know, the lowest price one is the one they sell tons and tons and tons and tons of, and that's the way their business model is. So like you hop in a BMW 1 Series, I think is the most affordable one. You're like, cool, I'm driving a BMW and this is amazing, and you're in your head, you're associating yourself with the $200,000 BMWs. Well, you know, it's that kind of brand identity, but at the same time, you know, BMW is not handing you a Pinto, you know, like a junky car that's just going to light itself on fire and is slow.
And tune itself.
So, do we want to talk about anything else in this line? We're kind of coming up on time here.
No, I think like,
that's it.
I think we could all give our final thoughts. I mean, Gibson,
I'm excited for him. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't listen to the haters. Haters gonna hate. Potatoes gonna potate. Gibson, stay true to yourself.
Yeah, keep coming out with more cool stuff, and frankly, I like that the satin models are expanding.
Yeah, life's a garden. Dig it.
But
I love how Scott just goes.
Sure.
My other thought of it though is, you know, the Les Paul standard keeps growing in price and keeps moving further away from something that I feasibly see myself ever buying at this point.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
there is that side going on too. But now I look and I'm like, I really just want a Les Paul studio tribute.
Okay, but you know, I hate to like get us back on topic while we were trying to get out of it. The thing is though, if you look at a lot of the other model, the Les Paul is the one that does this more than any of them. I mean, because if you look at SGs, almost all the SGs are affordable. There's not a whole lot of those $4,000 SGs that aren't something that was made like limited for the most part. Most of the SGs are it's an SG. I mean, Firebird's another one. You've got all these other ones, but the Les Paul is the one that's got 27 different variances. And I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is that goes to their advertising to the dentists. I forgot who posted that. I think it was Mason Lamb in 60 Cycle Hom said, you know, they're not selling to the everyday player with those. They're selling to the dentists and the lawyers.
Yeah.
It's the guitar you've been saving up for years and years and years, and you finally can do it. It's not.
It's like
it's not your
50th
second
anniversary.
guitar.
Yeah, it's like 50th anniversary guitar.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, in my head, mine is a little sad because I remember when Les Paul standards were a more affordable guitar than when they were now.
But you're older than us, so
I am like a year, 2 years older than you at most. Aren't you turning 30?
Maybe.
I'm 31.
Maybe.
I'm not that much older than you.
You know, it's a really great for a 30th birthday. Limited edition Dweller. That's on Reverb.
You know what's really interesting is I have this email that was going back and forth between you and Brady where I think you said I may be able to talk my wife into letting you buy it. So you know what?
Yeah.
Diaz, I totally support that. And Jess, if you're listening, you really should let Diaz buy that.
Yeah, it's
For
not going to happen.
With his own money.
It's not going to happen.
We tried.
Yeah. But I think it's a good line. I think that it's definitely kind of pushing them in the direction that they need to go in. So
No doubt.
For sure.
Yeah, I think they'll move way more volume in this region, and hopefully that will kind of set the economics of what they're dealing with in a better space.
Yep. So
Should I make my prediction of we're going to be seeing this junior tribute a lot?
Yes.
I think it really matters if it's just routed for that one pickup and whether people feel comfortable routing that guitar.
I'm not even talking about as like a modding platform. Oh my goodness. That dog. But I'm just saying in general, I bet this is probably going to be popular among people.
Yeah, I mean, that shape's not as tied to tradition either, so you won't have the purist being all, it's not really a double cut, you know, it's not this guitar that's up on a pedestal.
I think it'll be
I'm standing by
it'll be a killer slide guitar.
Ew. Why? No. Okay, let's end the episode after that. My God.
What? I'm saying it would look good, like aesthetically, for slide players.
Potentially, yeah.
It's really funny because when I think of an SG, I think of trucks sliding.
I actually have a Derek Trucks signature slide, so I can't say anything about that.
Well, let's wrap it up. Did you
right.
I think you broke Marissa. That's definitely the end of the episode.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Leave us a review on iTunes. We actually got another review.
Did we?
Yeah. Awesome. I posted it in the group. It's at the bottom. It says, Diaz is my hero. Diaz is the best, hands down.
I don't think that's what it says. Let's fact check that real quick.
That's legit what it says.
Oh my God.
It's in the group. Go look at the group.
There's an email address with this. Diaz is awesomer at gmail.com.
They seem really dedicated to their fandom. I'm proud of them. But check out, leave us a review, and check us out on Instagram at the Effects Loop. Check us out Facebook groups, all that fun stuff. Email us theeffectsloop@gmail.com. What else am I missing? That's all of it, right?
If you want to check out a few more of the 2019 Gibsons that we saw at NAMM, that video is up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube. You can go to our Instagram and follow. The link is actually in the bio because we posted that recently. So I think that's all of it.
I think so.
So for the Effects Loop, I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
And I'm Scott.
All right, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, we won't see you, but we'll talk to you.
I'm more likely to see them because it's on Facebook.
This is true.
Yep.
Well, if you get in the Facebook group, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
We just